16 people are waiting.
3. All right, we should be live. Somebody monitor on YouTube because I can't right now, and tweet it out because I can't right now. I'll do it on my phone.
We're live on YouTube.
We are. Cool. All right, welcome in. Welcome into the show that's 2 weeks in now, and John Bishop still has no idea what the name of it is. It is Wang Nachos Reverse Happy Hour.
Again, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, why is it reverse? What's reverse mean?
Do you not know it's usually at like 4 or 5?
Seriously, have you never been to a
happy hour at
restaurant?
Restaurants are like 9, 10, 11 p.m.
Have you legit never been? You've never heard that term until this week? Seriously?
No, I've not. No.
Yeah, so like restaurants will have specials. They'll have specials at night, at like 9 o'clock,
restaurants? What is this restaurant?
So we used to go outside and we would see other people, and sometimes we might even shake their hands.
They don't have reverse happy hour at Subway, so John is not aware of it.
Or
KFC. I don't go to Subway. I can't tell you the last time I've been to Subway.
You live in Southwest Lincoln. There's restaurants everywhere that have reverse happy hours. That's like the reverse happy hour capital of Nebraska.
Yeah.
Which restaurant?
South Point Mall.
I don't know any of them.
I don't know. Well, either way, welcome to the Reverse Jam. Nachos.
So bad. Please brand it right. Which is never going to become a huge video podcast if you can't get the branding.
Yeah,
right.
Goodness gracious.
Well, put a graphic on here or something so I can just read it. Anything on the prompter, Burgundy will read.
Hey, if we can pay $25 a month, we can get rid of the duck and we can put our own Wang Nachos graphic up there. Stibbs can design it.
By the way, just out of curiosity, Jack, if you attempted you probably don't have a green screen. Have you attempted the green screen feature on this yet?
On this one, I've done it on Zoom, so we're not actually using Zoom right now. But
there's a green screen feature on this too.
And is there?
But you have to use Google Chrome. You can't use Firefox or another browser. Don't ask me why. But
you can change like the background of your.
Well, yeah, if you have to have either a green or a blue screen, and it has to be well lit, and then you can select either a pre-programmed green screen, or you can like upload a picture.
Okay, back to that in a second because I have thoughts. If Jordan Watson is correct, Old Chicago like invented reverse happy hour, I think. So you should have heard it.
Well, you're assuming that I've been there many times, and it's closed right now, so I couldn't tell you. I'll be honest. I don't eat at 10 o'clock at night. I eat at 6 o'clock.
But there's signs up when you're in there at 4 for the senior discount.
I don't look at signs. What signs?
I'm gonna be brutally honest right now because this is the time we're in. There was about a 5-year period. There's about a 5-year period in my life where every time, if it was my birthday, and they'd be like, "Where do you want to go to eat?" Anywhere in the city, I would say Old Chicago. What
5-year span are we talking?
Last year to 2014.
How old were you?
2003 to 2008.
Actually,
so you're a full-grown adult.
Yeah.
It's not crazy, but
I like
for some reason,
I used to like Old
Chicago was more appealing when it was just the one downtown. When it moved closer to me, it got less appealing. I don't know why.
When I used to work, I've worked the College World Series ever since I could walk for some company or another.
Except in 2020.
And, And when my dad owned the ice cream company that used to be there, we would obviously work all night and get done at like 10 or 11 o'clock. And we'd take everyone to Old Chicago because they were one of the few places that were open that late back then, especially out west because we'd want to get back out west. And their reverse happy hour is amazing. Those Italian nachos are unbelievable.
I think
$5.
I think Old Chicago is where I started getting into wings. Like I would go there and I would have, like, I think it was like there was a pizza place, either like Little Caesars or Pizza Hut, where we started getting wings a lot. But I think Old Chicago was the first time when I was like, these are really good. I like buffalo wings.
These are places wings.
Applebee's was where I started getting into steak. I mean,
hold on. Did anyone eat wings before like 1998? Because I went to BW3 when I was in college, and I think that was the first chicken wing I ever had in my life.
Well, yeah, because Gary Sharp and I used to do the Monday Night Football remotes when they opened the one downtown. Gary, and so that would have been 1995 or 6, and I think, I mean, that's not the first chicken wing that I had, but because they had them at Brewski's, so I was like early 90s, I suppose.
My parents have always been wings people. I used to not like wings. They'd get them as appetizers at places when we'd go. And it wasn't worth the mess. I was a real pansy when it came to spicy stuff. So it'd like make my mouth hurt and it wouldn't go away. And I was just like, screw these. I didn't like them. And just in probably the last 10 years, I was like, okay, now.
Yeah, my dad still doesn't like wings because he's not a fan of like the buffalo flavor. He doesn't like that type of flavor of things.
So you just not like a hot sauce fan.
Yeah, not because it's spicy. He just doesn't like the taste.
Yeah, I put buffalo sauce on stuff at my house. I'll make stuff, and my family just talks about the fact that it smells like piss all the time. And
Interesting.
But people who are like completely scared of hot food are the worst. I'm sorry. I don't know if that's any of you guys, but people who are like so scared of hot food that they do everything they can to avoid it are some of my least favorite people in the world.
We have Chris's best friend is that way. And so if we go to Mexican restaurants, which we do a lot.
I don't like Mexican restaurants. I'm not a fan of hot stuff.
It is. It's like, real. I mean, I thought Christian was bad. Christian's the kind that he'll get the little, we'll get the salsa at the table and he'll take the little chip and he'll dip it in like the little corner. The little corner will touch the salsa and then it's. That's it.
I used to be like
really?
that.
Why did you just?
Yeah, I was too, Stibbs.
I used to be like that.
Suck.
Well, I was a kid.
I was a kid.
Yeah, it's not now.
I don't care.
I don't want any of those green peppers. I don't want to have any indigestion. Oh my gosh.
It wasn't about spice for me. I didn't like tomatoes. And still honestly don't.
Yeah, I don't like tomatoes.
Salsa now. But I didn't realize how much different they tasted once you put them in salsa.
To answer Mike's question, I'm not a world beer tour fan, so
yeah, I never did that either. But I mean, I don't go to Old Chicago anymore.
Yeah. Well, the problem is, it's one of those. It's. I don't remember. Didn't they used to give you like a card or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Every time
and
you got
a T-shirt.
And by the time you accumulated all your cards, when I was going to Subway, I had my Subway card, to get my free sandwich, and I had this, and pretty soon your wallet's as big as George Costanza's, and it's like I can't keep track of all this. So just I don't care about your little contest or competition.
Jordan wants to know the best Mexican spot in Lincoln and cue Josh to tell us that all the restaurants in Lincoln suck. So
no, I don't say all of them do. It's just Omaha has much better restaurants than Lincoln does. I don't know what is the best Mexican restaurant.
I will say this. Now, Omaha owns every other genre, but I would put up Lincoln's Mexican restaurants against Omaha's Mexican restaurants any day.
Okay.
They are. They're good. They're good. They're good. The Las Margaritas that we go to is good. The Real Hacienda Real, the Cactus. We had Cactus takeout last weekend, I think.
Cactus.
What's your favorite in Omaha?
Jack, have you tried Copal?
I've still never been to Copal, but I hear amazing things about it.
It is really good.
Sure, it's not as good as anything they have in Omaha, though. I mean,
I am wearing pants.
Omaha
Triggered.
I am wearing pants right there. I'm wearing pants.
Somebody screenshot that, please.
I'll go on Twitter or I'll go on YouTube. All right, I got one.
I am wearing pants.
I gotta close my door. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay. So what's your favorite Mexican restaurant in Omaha?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm trying to think if I've had Mexican in Omaha.
Mine's Mula. Or I'm trying to think of, but see, like that's such like a new school type Mexican restaurant. I'm trying to think of like an old school traditional Mexican restaurant. I mean, because gosh, now I just have too many that I'm thinking of.
There's one way out off the interstate on 144th. I think it's Azteca or something like that. That place is good. I don't know if it's still there.
I don't know if I've had that one.
Brunts, I do. I hope you got a GIF of that.
I did get a picture of your butt.
If not, we'll create one from the replay.
Yeah, this will be available on replay at YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, I showered. I did everything. I got pants on. I'm
yeah,
good.
you look pretty. I mean, look pretty clean. You look more cleaned up than when I normally see you in your studios right now, John.
I agree.
That's because I literally took a shower like an hour ago. So yeah.
You normally have like a Cubs/NASCAR uniform on at this point. And are these your church? These are like your church clothes, or what's happening?
It is usually a Cubs NASCAR uniform or a Creighton NASCAR uniform.
I remember, Jack, one of my favorite random memories, like as you and I started getting to know each other, was when we did a Team Jack show a couple of years ago, and John walked up wearing like 3 different fandom teams. It was like a Cubs hat and like a Rams pullover. He probably had socks on for somebody as well. That was hysterical.
Jack's got a weird thing where you can't wear 2 different sports teams at the same time, though.
I think that's weird. Yeah, I think that's weird.
That's because you don't have 2 sports teams. You have one sports team. That's all you have.
And your fantasy team.
I think, which has no apparel that I'm aware of. But
you've never worn a Husker shirt and a Royals hat?
I try not to. And I also think
you're afraid it'll throw people off and not know exactly what a fan
I have another rule. Unless you're going to a game, I don't even wear 2 things of the same. So I got a hat on right now.
So you wear like a Nebraska shirt with that?
No, not just out and about.
I kind of get that because like I like when I was 12, I would have like Broncos head to toe, and then I see pictures. I'm like, yeah, I look like a walking billboard. I look like an idiot.
You look like a team manager.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. I try not to do that as well. But I have a Duck shirt and a Broncos hat on right now. You got a problem with that?
Good for you.
They're not even in the same sport.
I have no problem with that. Wear what you want to wear. I don't care as long as you're wearing
still
something.
Match.
Sorry, and they do. They do match.
We didn't care. I didn't even notice.
Wait, who's that? Who's the guy down in this corner over here? Who's that guy? Who's that guy? By the way, the Brock Lesnar match is about to start. I'll give you an update when it's over.
Don't care.
It's in predictions, buddy. You better care.
That's the only wrestling one we picked, right? Did we do any other wrestling ones?
That was the only one.
There were 2.
Just to clarify, I'm putting Jim's comment up. Yeah, which Jim's looking good right there. I do Jim? On game day, games are an exception. For games, you can. For regular life, 1 piece of team apparel is more than enough.
No, I'm going to need a color-coded rule book on what apparel I can wear each day. If you could put that together.
I wish we could zoom in on John's camera there and see what those pictures are behind.
I know. I thought the same thing.
John, what pictures are behind you right now?
Oh, I got quite a bit, actually.
Is that young you? This is the
piano? Who plays piano?
Nobody.
Aww.
Christian learned for a little bit. That's a wedding photo. Aww. Me, my wife, and my stepson. That's Brian. We got these taken at the caboose behind Lincoln Station before.
Oh yeah,
the West Haymarket.
I had my senior football poster was taken back there.
This is.
Wait, you came to Lincoln for your senior football poster?
So. That's my stepson when he was like 2 years old.
It just shows a lot about the. It says a lot that you came to Lincoln for Omaha school for your.
Maybe we did. Maybe we found a train track in Omaha. I don't remember. It's a long time ago.
Just gonna go down memory lane right now with John and his family.
We are. One more. There's the boys.
Oh my gosh!
Awesome.
Little glamour shot action.
Oh,
that's happy. That's like 2 years after Bishop and I, or 2 years before Bishop and I started working together. There was one time I went to. Do you remember Bishop?
What year was it? What year was it?
I started in 06. So, with you.
Well, no, this would have been taken because Christian was, I think, 3 in that. So you would have been there by then.
Oh, okay. Wow, I forgot.
But
one time, the funniest story. One of the first times I went over to Bishop's house to watch a game, we used to go over there and watch games quite a bit in some Husker games and stuff. And one time they always lost. And one of the games, we're watching it, and then they had another TV set up on the other side of the room where Christian was playing video games. and I go up to just like make conversation with Christian, and I'm like, hey, what are you playing? I don't know. It was some Call of Duty or something. I don't know what it was. And he was like, these are the good Nazis and these are the bad Nazis.
I think he said Germans. I don't think he said not
Germans. You're right. He said
Germans.
Maybe he did. It was
well.
I was like, okay.
Now, Jack, I know I told this story on the air, but recently,
your teacher.
What's that?
Is this the story about your teacher from way back in the day?
Christian. No, this is Christian. Who I caught screaming at the top of his lungs. He was mad at his Madden game. He was screaming at Pat Tillman. I was like, do you know who you're talking about?
Look at this idiot. He can't cover anybody. Look at this moron. God, this guy sucks. Who is it, Christian? Pat Tillman.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, dude, come on. Yeah. You know what I should do? And my mom, she did this, I think, once, and I wonder if she still has the tape. But when we would watch games as kids and just scream at the TV and be angry at the refs and everything else, and my mom, me, and
never would have figured.
I need to take my little recorder and just stick it in his room because he will go off. Oh my God!
I remember hearing a story one time about my youngest brother where he thought that he was he was home all day. It was during the summer. My parents were at work, and so he just figured he'd be down there by himself, and he had headphones on, and he apparently was just dropping all sorts of F-bombs, and he was like throwing his controller. And my dad came home, and like he walked downstairs, and he was like, Luke, what are you doing? And he just like went right back upstairs. Didn't even see, because he was an adult by that point. He was in college, and so he wasn't gonna be like, you're grounded from the video games. But it's like, Luke, why are you being such a psycho?
Grow up, dude, psycho.
I miss those days. I wish we could be psycho again.
Yeah.
Make America psycho again. Oh wait, never mind.
Nobody likes watching games with me. Nobody likes watching games with me because I refuse to sit down. I stand.
That never bothered me.
Yeah, same here.
I do too.
I don't sit down
for big games.
I just walk. Yeah,
I think
I didn't
walk
sit
around
down the entire Super Bowl, the Panthers Broncos Super Bowl. I just stood behind the couch and paced.
I sat down because it was so boring.
I think I have a video on my phone somewhere of Jack during the Penn State game where he's like losing his mind and he's like rolling around on the ground, essentially calling for flags from the original Wang Nachos.
Ooh, yeah.
Right. There was, that still, as bad of a game as that was, there were a whole lot of moments where I thought they were going to get, what is that?
It's you. It's you. It's Jack.
Oh,
he's wearing two things of Husker gear. He's got a jersey on and a hat. Pretty crazy.
Wow.
It's a game day.
Oh, God, for a second, I thought you had that framed. I didn't realize that was your phone.
I did too.
What are you doing,
did too.
weirdo?
Yeah, let's see your framed pictures, weirdo. It's me.
That'd be awesome.
I've lost like 40 pounds since that too. Man, I was swimming in that jersey. Jeez,
dude, that's awesome.
Or the opposite of that. Yeah. The old Thunder Collins jersey, which by the way, Thunder Collins jersey, as a result of you guys' coach, I've never heard a radio guy tout an incoming recruit like Gary Sharp touted Thunder Collins. It was incredible.
Really?
He would play he played Thunderstruck he played Thunderstruck to open his show on the network for an entire summer, and he got me into a lather to the point that I'm buying a jersey. This Thunder Collins is going to win the Heisman, and so
the original media overhype of a recruit.
I was going to say, look at you blaming the media.
Yep. Typical media overhyping things.
He wrote the book on it.
By the way, Brock Lesnar lost, so I got the point. Congratulations to me.
Damn it!
I thought I picked the other guy.
No, you picked Brock.
Are they doing? I don't pay any attention. I had a 3-year period where I paid close attention to World Wrestling, and I haven't since. Are they like doing it in an empty gym or
in an empty studio? Yes.
Yeah, Michael told me the other day that they filmed like multiple endings, and the wrestlers didn't even know what they were going to do with them.
Yeah, they did a match. They did a thing last night where they did it. They did a cinematic one where the Undertaker was wrestling in a graveyard. Was actually kind of good.
Did Michael attach a GIF where he just searched multiple endings and add it to that?
Probably. We could fill an entire show about Michael and his tweeting.
Yeah, we've never
One
really
of the
talked
best.
about it on the air. Stibbs made a joke about it, I think, on Friday, didn't you, Stibbs?
No, I made
was
a
like the
joke
first time.
about Damon saying www.
Oh, that's what.
He didn't appreciate it.
No. www.iloveops.
You know, if you want to do like a anti-MacGyver, have Damon and Michael star in it. Because you know how MacGyver could put anything together with anything. These guys couldn't figure out technology or anything. So the two of them together.
To hear you say that is truly remarkable, to be honest.
I know it better than you think, buddy.
You know how to do stuff with cars. I would trust you with my car.
Yeah, me too.
Before my computer, absolutely.
Before my computer, yeah.
All right. So how's quarantine life going for everybody? You bored yet, or are you sick of it, or what's the highs and the lows for everybody?
I'm still going into work, so I mean I'm kind of barely quarantined. Yeah, and I wasn't a big bar person anyway. But as soon as the option's taken away, then you're like, oh, I'd give anything to go sit at a bar somewhere right now.
Well,
but, I don't know. It's cool. I did a big poker game with a bunch of my friends online with a Zoom meeting at the same time. So that was cool.
Yeah, my friends and I, we did we had a 3-hour Zoom last night, and we played Cards Against Humanity for like an hour and a half. It was so much fun. But other than that, I agree with Stibbs. I'm still going into the office. It's basically just work home. Yeah. The thing I do miss, is like actually going to restaurants and just not so much like I agree with Stibbs. I'm not like a big bar hopper anymore, but I just miss like going, hey, you want to go to a sports bar tonight and grab, some
meet for a beer after the show.
Yeah, that's the stuff I really miss.
Yeah.
Well, apparently Lincoln decided today was the day to go out and do whatever. I mean, I had to go. I went and got the power rake over at the Home Depot and, did all that. And Home Depot was busy just like it would be on a normal Sunday. And I talked to the guy at the rental counter, and he said, "Yeah, it's nonstop. People coming in, renting tools.
People are stuck at home and finding all this crap that they need.
Well, and then I got done, and me and Christian went to take the thing back, and we took it back, and I said, well, we'll stop by Sonic and get you guys, something to drink, and just about every stall was busy, and the line for the drive-through was out to the street.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Jeez. At Sonic at
3:00 in the afternoon.
Palpable buzz.
Everyone was jonesing for a cherry limeade, I guess.
People are so weird about Sonic drinks. I mean, they're fine, but
there's
people are
nothing special.
Them. Thank you.
You can make them at home. It's a bunch of syrup. Well, have you ever looked like through the drive-through thing? It's just a bunch of syrup.
I've never heard any business
nothing special.
I've never heard any business tout their non-alcoholic drinks like Sonic does. Like they're so amazing.
But it must work because the place is busy. It was crazy.
Check out this slushy.
Is it just because it's so cheap for 2 hours that it's like $1 for a 44-ounce drink? Is that?
You mean during the reverse happy hour?
Whatever.
No, it's an actual happy hour. It happens like from 3 to 5.
I mean, Kool-Aid is cheap too. I mean, I don't get it.
I like Kool-Aid.
Yeah, but
I know, but that's
how many places do a cherry limeade?
Not very many.
Not a restaurant, but you could find cherry limeade flavored powder.
Right.
Yeah, but
that's not it though, Stibbs. People are lazy. They don't want to actually make it.
I know. It's just funny that's what they like. Jack said, like that's what they tout. It's like, check out this sugar water we have.
There's just no chance. There's no chance in my life I'd ever be like, oh man, I need to get a non-alcoholic beverage and just that at a drive-thru. So I'm heading there right now.
Nothing's gonna make me happier but a cherry limeade from Sonic.
I can't imagine being in that position in your life where that's gonna make you happen, or where that's gonna make you go to a drive-thru.
Dang, I guess I'm embarrassed about the past when I would go to Sonic for just drinks.
What can I say? I'm a cheap employee. I only pay my labor in Sonic drinks.
Jack, put the last Greg comment up on the screen.
That's pretty good. Also, a lot of people are sad about Michigan Kevin locking his Twitter account. That's a big bummer.
Yeah, it's a big
sad.
day.
That's true. I do. I do like anti-murder cult, though. Thank you, Mike. A non-murder cult. I agree.
Yeah.
Anti-murder.
See,
everybody knows this.
Josh has a cult. Of course, he likes Kool-Aid. Okay.
That is a bad take. That is a bad take. Cherry limeade's good.
I'm not surprised you like cherry limeade.
Yeah, I've never been a fan
of
the limeade.
What is wrong with cherry limeade?
It's fine. It's just not. That's not even what I would order there.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember when I would get Sonic drinks, what I would get. I think I would do like a sour blue raspberry or like a blue raspberry lemonade. I think I don't even remember. It's been a few years since I had it.
Yeah, you're just mixing in different things,
Yeah.
So let's get down to what really the main event of this whole thing is.
Stibbs, it's time to take a break.
And that is. And Josh, it's not the first time Josh and I have had this argument. I mean, we did an entire podcast that was kind of founded on this argument before. But how do you refer to the bowl game that precedes a football season? For example, Nebraska versus Miami after the 1994 season, where Nebraska won their first national championship in the 90s. There's the Canes right there.
Wow, look at you, Trader.
Shout out Cane Shades.
Yeah.
What do you call that? So let me just go around the horn. And when you call that game, when you're referring to that game, Bishop, what do you refer to that game as?
Well, the Orange Bowl game that Nebraska lost to Miami after the 1983 season was January 2nd, 1984. It was the 1984. It was the 1984 Orange Bowl. It was actually the 50th Orange Bowl. But it's also widely known as the 1984 Orange Bowl.
Now, listen, I'm going to have 2 feet kind of in opposite boats here, which is going to make you
both sides equally as bad. Is that what you're going to say here, Stibbs?
No, but
maybe
I understand probably equal. But I understand why it's called that. I know that it happened in that year. I'm not saying people shouldn't call it that, whereas Jack sounds like he might have that opinion. It more so that it just annoys me and it confuses that still to this day. Every time I Google something or I'm talking with someone, oh yeah, the 84 Orange Bowl. My initial thought is to think about that season, even though it didn't happen in that season. So it's always confusing. I'm not saying we need to change it or that people should call it the 83 Orange Bowl. That doesn't not make it annoying.
Yeah, obviously I call it the 1984 Orange Bowl too because it played in 1984 and that's like what the program says. So why would you call it anything but the 1984 Orange Bowl? I don't understand your argument, Jack.
My argument is really simple. Every bowl game, no matter if it happened 2 days into the New Year, should be called the football season that it corresponded with. And I don't care. Nobody cares that it didn't happen that year. Because I hear 84 Orange Bowl, and I'm like, oh, was that BYU and Robbie Bosco? I have no idea who was in the 84 Orange Bowl.
Listen, I would
83 Orange Bowl.
I would vote for that for Jack just to get the confusion out of the way. And it makes more sense. So I bought a 2017 Malibu in 2016. I didn't make them change it to 2016 because I bought it in 2016 or it was manufactured in 2016.
The argument though against Jack?
You can't use cars because they always date cars ahead. I mean, you can buy 2021 cars now.
It's just like Madden. They date Madden. They always date Madden ahead. Do you get mad like, hey, this is Madden 2020, even though
it's confusing.
A little bit because it's confusing. Yeah.
Man, I've never been confused by it.
The argument that for Jack and I in that instance is that it doesn't matter what you call it. Go ahead and call it the 83 Orange Bowl because it doesn't matter when it happens or when it's released or when you play it. What matters most is that it was the end of the season for that season.
And the checkmate part of our argument is if you go to Josh's way of doing this.
You mean the way that the websites and the bowl games actually do it? My way.
If you go to
when Josh gets into this argument. Oh, you mean the one that's right?
No, if you go to I'm not incorrect on this. There's literally no argument for this. There is no argument that Jack can say.
Triggered, bitch.
Now,
here we go.
Now, hold on. Jack, make your point.
Jordan on the text line, whatever this is, made the comment that I was about to bring up. The problem with Josh's point is because multiple times there'll be bowls that happen on the beginning of a year and then the end of a year based on how it's scheduled. And so you would have two hypothetical 1996 Orange Bowls, so to speak.
Well, and you did. And this example by Jordan, the 96 Orange Bowl is the most confusing one. But that game typically was played on New Year's Day. But because, we had to screw everything up, they moved everything early for that particular bowl game. And so, yes, this here is your strongest argument. But the problem is, since time immemorial, when the granddaddy of them all got started, they named the bowl game after the year it was played in. So the Nebraska football team from 1940 played in the 1941 Rose Bowl. And that's the way it's always been done for those games that have always been played on New Year's Day or after. You're right. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but like a lot of other things, it's always been done that way. And so it's going to be that way. The difference is, like in the NFL,
see, that's what I was just about to say.
The Rams beat the Saints in the 2018 NFC Championship, which was played in 2019. The NFL does it right because they name the playoffs after the year that
after the season
it's determining. Yeah. And then of course the Super Bowl is called Super Bowl 53.
Yeah.
If they would have been smart and said Rose Bowl 1, Rose Bowl 2, Rose Bowl 3, then we wouldn't have this issue and we'd go from there. But unfortunately, because it started this way 100 and God knows how many years ago, it's what we've become used to.
Now to argue against that, John, is if the college football world decided today that the next time there are bowl games, it would be the Jack way, that it would be confusing for 1 year because we would then call that Rose Bowl the 2020 Rose Bowl, even if there already was one. So there would be 1 year of confusion if we did it instead of not doing it and still having situations like George said, where it's going to be confusing for years.
But then do you retroactively change everybody else? You change everything else?
There would just be one time where there's two of them. There's numerous times where there's two of them already anyway.
Hey, Josh, do you go around to people? Do you go around to people and be like, hey, it was a great defense, the 1986 Super Bowl champion Chicago Bears?
No, because they're the 1985 Super Bowl champion Chicago Bears.
But the Super Bowl happened in.
But again, that's the way the NFL has always done it.
And it's the season. It's not. It's 1996. Nebraska didn't win a national championship. 1995, Nebraska won a national championship. This is really not that difficult.
Yeah, so it would be the 95 championship. Therefore, the 95 Orange Bowl.
But that's not. Yes, I agree. The 1995 Orange Bowl. Good call again, Stibbs.
If that was the season that it was in, yeah.
I honestly. Until I started doing that podcast with you, I never even thought of the games in that way in my life.
I never even realized that people made your argument. I never discussed that with anybody until you.
No, I hadn't really heard it much either. I understand the confusion, I do, but the problem is this is the way we've always referred to it. I guarantee you, if ESPN Classic is showing the Nebraska Miami Orange Bowl, it's going to be the 1984 Orange Bowl. It's the way it was named, and that's the way everyone.
And I'll be like,
it's
probably a Robbie Bosco, and I don't want to watch it.
No, you won't. You know what it's called.
I won't know what it is.
I would have to look. I would have to Google it.
Google? What do you mean Google it?
If
it's always been referred
on the
to
television
this way.
screen, all it said, because first of all, I don't have it memorized because I don't care enough. But if it just said 1997 Orange Bowl, I would have to look up who was in that.
Well, there was no 1997 Orange Bowl, Stibbs.
It didn't exist.
No, because remember Damon's was in 96, and then the next one was January 2nd, 1998.
Exactly. See? Right. Confusion. Point proven.
Google it. Google it.
Well, hey, now here's the question. The college football playoff, was it called the 2019 college football playoff or the 2020 college football playoff?
You're talking about the one that was just played?
The one we just had, the one won by LSU.
I think they call the playoffs.
They call it 2020.
I think do they do it that? Because I'm looking it up right now.
I'm pretty sure the little thing
you're right,
on their thing said
so they call it like they do the bowl games. They call it the 2020 college football playoff. Yeah, I'm looking at the logo right now.
Because think about that. You're going to have like all these highlights of who won the national championship. I don't even remember.
LSU.
of LSU with this big 2020 sticker all over their shoulder pads, and above it it's going to say 2019 champions.
Right. Like if I ask
That's
you a
weird.
trivia question, what year did LSU win the national championship? You'd say 2019.
Yeah.
But they won it in 2020.
Well, honestly, the college football playoff could have helped with all of this by
giving it a name like we just talked about.
They should have done what the Super Bowl does. They should have called it College Football Playoff Championship #1 or something like that.
Plus, that would have been an easy thing to like market, like calling it the first #1 and like marketing the #1.
Isn't it interesting that everybody else, it's always the 2019 Stanley Cup playoffs, the 2019 NBA Finals, and I get it. There's no crossover in calendars, but it's not the 103rd World Series. It's the 2018 World Series. But the Super Bowl is the only one, right?
That actually has like the name
numbers the games.
Yes.
Is it because they changed the name of it after they already had a handful of AFL versus NFL championships?
Well, I mean, because
even NFL championships.
Super Bowl started as a nickname, and then they adopted it, I think, with the third one, and then they just counted retroactively.
Yeah.
But
there was still
it's the only one that it's labeled that way. It's not like they decided, when Joe Namath beat the Colts, it wasn't the 1969 Super Bowl.
Nice.
It was Super Bowl III.
Yeah, and that's what like the NBA Finals. They're in June, and they just call them the whatever year it is, the 2019 NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
And the world baseball, of course, is the easiest because their season does not cross over. And then hockey, it's just whatever the Stanley Cup year is, right?
Yeah, nobody else knows
way into the year. So
hold on though. Here's the difference. College basketball pretty much always does the hyphenated 2 years when you look it up.
They do, but usually and. See, and that's another thing.
If you look up 2019 Final Four, I don't think it's branded as like the 2018.
It's last year's Final Four.
Yeah.
This year would have been the 2020 national champion.
Yeah, I'm looking at the logo for last year, and it just says 2019. So they don't even hyphenate that it's the 2018-2019 Final Four. They just do 2019.
But I think you understand, back to my original point, we just need a system when there are 2 Orange Bowls in a single year. You just it'd be easier if we just always refer to it as the season, when it's days, when it's literal hours. It's hours after the year ends.
You could count
it could be like 24 hours. It could be 36 hours.
Because it makes no sense to say Nebraska won the 1994 national championship during 1995. It's so confusing.
Listen. It doesn't make sense, but we have become used to it this way. And so when I hear 1994 Orange Bowl, it's the game Nebraska lost. When I hear 1995 Orange Bowl, it's the game Nebraska won.
Yeah, I never even bothered to memorize them. I would just ask, what was the opponent? Okay, that game. Now I remember. It was too confusing.
Maybe we should name them like storms. Orange Bowl Alexa.
Okay, I actually legitimately love that idea. That would be so stupid and dumb. It would be so funny.
Orange Bowl.
Right.
Orange Bowl Brian.
and then Jack, you can have your pets with human names.
Right.
Rose Bowl Bob.
It's Clemson, Virginia.
Rose Bowl Bob.
It's Clemson, Virginia, and Citrus Bowl Jeff.
Now this is what we should do. I would love that.
Well, next year, whenever football's back, I think that we need to name all of the bowl games, maybe just the New Year's Six ones, after people. And then that's how we will refer to them.
And we have to do it in the correct order because they start. So it's in alphabetical order, and they change sexes each time?
Yes, I believe. Yes. I think you're right.
So it'd be like Alexa, and then Brian, and then Caitlin, and then
Jenner.
Dick. Whoa.
What if we named the bowl game after the surname of the MVP? So the 96 Orange Bowl could be Orange Bowl Damon.
Oh, I really like that idea. Now.
Oh.
So this last national championship was National Championship Burrow.
Yeah, or Joe.
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Ladies and gentlemen,
that's stupid.
Mike Schaefer.
Hey, Schaefer.
Look at that guy.
What are you doing?
No, you're supposed to point up. You're pointing down.
We're idiots.
I know. I keep thinking it's a mirror, and then I'm like, wait a second, why is it going that way? So then I have to remember I'm using this hand. It's got to be your bowl.
Got to be your bowl.
What have I missed?
Jack, I'm really mad about bowl games in years.
We've just come up with a solution.
No one got
to
better
Jack's
than
problem about naming bowl games after the year they're played in, and they don't correspond with the season that it went with. So we've decided we're going to name bowl games after people.
Yeah.
Much like hurricanes and tropical storms.
Can we pick the names beforehand? Because I kind of like the Stibbs Tropical Storms idea.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Well, the other idea was we name it after the MVP of the game.
See, that's a
so
cool
we name
idea,
it retroactively.
But I think the lamer the name, the better. And there's too many cool names out there playing football.
That's not
because if we just branded it all 2 weeks before it happened as national championship, Dave, that'd be a lot more fun.
I'm disappointed. I specifically wore a hat with a little brass other side.
Oh,
there we go. See that? But Jack is not. He's not.
Where'd he go?
Oh, does he?
Passed.
Is this another one of his goofy things he has a problem with?
Yeah, can you imagine that?
I mean, what's wrong with the brass? I mean, personally, I like the snapbacks better, but
he's fine with it as long as you don't wear it backwards, right?
No, he's out on it entirely because it looks like the that are given away by banks.
I didn't realize he didn't like those hats in general. I knew about the backwards hat thing, but I love those type of hats.
I thought you just couldn't wear it backwards.
Oh, wow.
Have you ever had a hat that has like just one snap button?
No.
Yeah,
I've got one like that. That's pretty cool because then you tighten it and then you snap and then it's got like
yeah, I know. Okay, like the Nebraska ones we have. I think he's talking about Stibbs.
Do those have those? Do those have
okay.
that?
Yeah, never mind. Yeah, I like those hats.
Because then you can tuck the remaining thing into the hat. It's pretty cool.
Yep.
Do you guys ever have hats with like an actual buckle on it? Like a belt would have, where you had to put it in and fold it and put the thing through it?
Isn't that what Mike's is?
That's what I've got.
Do you have the actual poker that goes through, like a belt would?
Oh.
No. Yeah, I'm talking like I guess that's.
So a belt buckle.
I'm talking like a belt buckle, like you actually put the little.
I've never seen that. I've never seen
a couple of those when I was a kid.
That's weird. I know.
They didn't last. They were completely pointless.
Yeah.
You didn't need it. Plus, then you couldn't you just like the flat or the snapbacks. You couldn't just slide it like Schaefer's. You had to pick if you were in between one or two. You were just screwed.
I hate snapbacks. I just think they're really uncomfortable.
A good amount of them are. I have some that are fine, but like I said, if you're not exactly, I mean, those are big spaces in between those snaps. Like no one is exactly one of those. You're in between somewhere, and it's either too big or too small.
This one's Velcro. I like Velcro.
I'm not against it. I have a huge head though, so like you have like big things of Velcro on each side if I wear it. Like
so
if
you
I
have like extenders, like button extenders?
No, but like you just snap like the corner like this, and that's what the back thing looks like on the back of my head. Hi, Jack.
Hey, Jack.
Oh, look, he's back.
Hi, I had to get some string cheese and a beverage.
Oh.
You missed a really riveting hat conversation, and Shafe. Look at Shafe's glorious hat. He looks so good, doesn't he?
Whoa! Did he get it when he opened a checking account?
No. Master.
God, you guys. Oh,
the
Masters.
It's Masters.
Did you donate to PBS during their Masters coverage, or how did you get that?
I knew people that bought it for me.
God, you guys. I mean, the younger generation wears hats like such idiots, and I'm not even be the old man talking about flat bills. I don't care about flat bills. I care about
says the guy whose bill looks like right now. How can I get it more? Is that better?
First of all, Jack has no hats that look good. I mean, they all look like they have been run over by like an army of semis.
By the way, if there's one person, if you did like an internet match whose hats mine match up with most how they look, it's one Mr. Scott Frost, head coach of the University of Nebraska football. So you diss me.
Then Scott Frost is a hobo.
Wow.
I don't think I've ever seen a hat of yours that's clean.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what happens, and they're worn. That's a cool look.
Worn
Yeah,
hat.
but Scott Frott's hats don't look worn. I think he has a new hat for every game.
Because he gets a free one every week.
Yeah, I'm not a millionaire like him. Jeez.
That's one
Fair
difference.
enough.
Yeah.
Plus, I wouldn't wear the camo one. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, same.
I just don't want to blend
out on
in
America.
John is wearing a
camouflage.
Nationals hat. Is that what I'm saying here?
That is it. 2005, I think.
What was your hat on Friday?
Sprint car racing, baby.
The one on Friday. What was I wearing?
I think
on
you wore your
Friday?
Monster Energy hat on Friday.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
was the monster. That was the one Stibbs' dad gave me.
Was that when you guys did Silly Hat Day?
Hyde hat.
What did you say, Jack?
Yes, Jack, it was.
I saw the Stibbs like that. Was that when you guys had you guys showed the Zoom and it looked like you guys were doing Silly Hat Day? But I actually then Stibbs made
Everyone
me think
everyone had a different hat on that Jack disapproved of, so it was silly.
Yep.
Hat.
You didn't like the friend of the program hat? Stibbs had a friend reach out to him asking where I got it so he could get one himself.
Josh.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Very
get one made for him.
Very cool guy.
Josh, to your credit, I would rank your hat number 1 in that group.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Don't take that as a compliment.
What were you wearing, Stibbs? I don't even remember your hat.
I wasn't on screen.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Shafe had the sports hat on.
Oh, yeah. That was a fun
Shafe's hat was cool. I like Shafe's hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it had nothing to do with the content of the hat. It was the shape and the fit that Jack probably.
No, I like old novelty hats. Whatever you can do.
By
How
the
do
way,
you feel
did you
about the ones with the little propeller on the top? Do you like those?
That's called a beanie.
John has a different definition of beanies.
Yes, he
Made
does.
an extensive list of things that you don't like. That's how you could fill some of this time.
I kind of asked him for something
What?
like that, a color-coded, like what I'm allowed to wear on a regular basis thing would be great.
Yeah.
Man, I can't imagine
I'm glad
being
I-
like young Johnny with all of the takes that Jack has about him. I bet Jack rips on Johnny's, clothing and hats all the time.
Usually when you see that happen in TV shows, like it's the mom and the daughter who are like, "Oh, you look like a slut. You can't wear that." Or, "Oh my gosh, no, you can't go out like that." It's Jack who Johnny turns the corner and he's got 2 Husker things on and he's like, "Get back in your room. You're not leaving the house like that."
No, I tell him he looks like an idiot all the time.
Jack,
So
do
what
you
else
have,
is
do
going
you
on?
have an NFL team?
No. Well,
No, he's a
I have-
whore. He's liked them all at one point.
Okay, so here's the story. Like, sorry. about my
Okay, time to
French
get a beer.
I grew up cheering for, like many people in my state, and I don't know about your state, but in my state, we cheered for the teams who had our Huskers on them. And so that
This
led
sounds like
me
the
to
greatest
the
story ever.
that led me to in the 1984 Super Bowl cheering for Roger Craig and the 49ers against the Dolphins. And then
What date did that happen? What date was that
in
Super Bowl?
1985. It happened in 85, but we're gonna call it 84.
Okay.
It
I
also
just wanted to
triggered
make
me
sure.
in the 1985 Super Bowl to cheer for Irving Fryer against the Bears, and that didn't work out so well for me.
No, it
And
did.
so-
Groin kick January began officially on that day.
Yep. It did.
The 80,
It did.
that daunting 86 Bears defense.
And so I bounced around to teams that had Huskers that I liked on them, and that brought me to periods of liking the 49ers, the Patriots, the Lions, the
Sounds
Chiefs.
boring as shit.
Well, I don't enjoy it. I mean, I've said
Like,
this.
just pick
I
a
don't
team.
enjoy it. It's too late. I'm done.
No,
I
it's
messed it
not.
up. It's
You can
too
get
late.
excited.
No, you can't just pick a team when you're 42 years old and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah, you're
all
right.
in on the Chargers. I'm a
Forgot how
big
old you
Chargers
were.
guy." You can
The
shut
same guy that wondered if Fortnite could be the greatest video game of all time. Struggling to find any sort of rational reason to pick one football team and go. He was shocked.
I think you don't believe. I know you don't even believe it now. That you should, and you're right. If you think I'm a lost cause, I can't just pick up a team and be all in on them now. It's too late.
It could happen. It could happen.
I understand it from the perspective of I don't care about any NBA team specifically because the Sonics no longer exist, and I find it very hard to pick an EPL team because one,
who cares? Yeah,
right. But I need an emotional connection that generally was forged when I was a kid, and I just can't make that happen as an adult.
Think about how emotional Jack gets during sports, though. It's not hard for him to get to that level of emotion. Say Adrian Martinez gets drafted to the Titans, and then he goes and has some miraculous playoff run like they just had, and he goes to the Super Bowl, and Jack is just all in that whole season. Don't you think you're probably a Titans fan for life?
No, I don't know if I can do it anymore. I can't do it anymore with
the
NFL.
Fantasy team, he won't care.
What?
That's true.
His
Mike's
fantasy
right.
supersedes all at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Fantasy is.
I mean, I get that.
And Mike's part of my fantasy league, so he knows the intense competitiveness. That's taken up whatever remaining ability I've had to have a team. That's eating it up.
Yeah.
That's the one good thing about maybe not having football this year is no more fantasy. Thank God.
Yeah, John got roped into doing fantasy last year, and he was so mad about it.
Oh, I hate it.
I hate when other people have fun and it doesn't affect me one bit.
Really surprised to hear
No, it just means I don't have to get roped into any more damn leagues.
You can say
Because
no,
you know how it is
I
around
did.
NRG. If you're not participating, you're not being a good, team player. It's like, nah.
I backed out of the NRG league this year, and I came up with an excuse that day. I was like, "Hey, yeah, sorry, I'm in another one," which I guess was true, so I wasn't lying. And I'm never going to join the NRG one again.
Same. There was some cheating that happened this year too. It was wild.
Yeah, and plus they scheduled the draft. Ours was so dumb. They scheduled the draft at 4 a.m. so that no one else would have to participate, or they didn't want anyone to actually draft their teams. They wanted it done by computers.
They were like, well, some people know it and some people don't, so everyone will just get a team.
We don't want to give you an advantage.
I'm not going to give you money then because I didn't pick this team.
Yeah.
Listen, if there isn't hundreds of dollars on the line in a fantasy league, I'm not interested.
I agree.
How much did you win? You got because you won the first year. How much did you win?
That league,
$100.
Yeah, it was like $120, $150.
Yeah,
to win it.
Totally worth it not to pay attention to your actual team and pay attention to random people from across the league. Totally worth it.
I'll tell you what, it's great though. You know what? It's fun.
I somehow did both. I don't know how I did it, John.
I don't know either.
John, I'm on your team on this one.
I don't know how Schaefer and Stibbs do it because it's great. I love I love NFL Sundays and Mondays. I love them because of fantasy, but the postseason sucks. I've got almost no interest. I was afraid I would forget the Super Bowl was on.
Just a terrible, terrible take.
That's crazy.
Thank you.
That's crazy.
I don't know. It's crazy. I've spent most of my life with my team not being good. I've managed to find ways to make the NFL interesting to me because it's football.
Yeah, same.
Do you have the same awful take as it relates to college basketball because Nebraska never makes it to March Madness? You can't find any reason to watch
John.
No. Wrong way. I had to think about it when I turned.
You did a really good job.
I had to think about it.
Yeah, plus Jack always has that take around the college football national championship where he's like, I forget that the game's even tonight, even though he's literally doing the show that day with me. And it's like, hey, let's preview the game that's tonight. And he's like, I don't know if I'll remember it, even though we're talking about it for 4 hours.
I've been terrified some night I'll miss the college football national championship because I'll forget about it.
Are we really going to believe the guy that makes the color-coded
Exactly. Thank you, Shay.
Know when the game is going to be?
Whoops, I forgot to put the biggest game of the year on here.
But I managed to put Pius versus Lincoln Christian on here, and I put it and highlight it and italicized.
And the JV game's 2 hours before.
The postseasons in almost every sport are worse than regular seasons.
You're an idiot.
Except for the NBA.
Oh, my God.
You're an idiot.
Oh,
you would be
terrible.
a PPL fan. Everything should just be a table.
Yeah.
I mean, almost, and for the NCAA tournament, I'll give you this: the first weekend is amazing. The second and third weekends are such a letdown after that first weekend.
Actually, and Shafe,
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that take for sure, 100%.
Well, that's basically my take on. I'm extending that across the whole thing, so it's a great take.
That's crazy, but I'm used to this.
What headway have you made on television shows in your quarantine, Jack?
I have not. I've still not watched. This is. I said this last week with these guys. I have not watched a television show other than News or Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives since I've started. Since this all happened when Fred Hoiberg got sick.
By the way, compliments to Guy Fieri. I think he's covering this very well.
I hate that.
I only will go to Flavortown or Cable News Town.
Are you also still ignoring the program? Are you still ignoring Sports Talk Radio?
Oh yeah, I don't listen to you guys at all.
Sad.
No, I've tuned in a couple of times.
Just tell your friends that you do.
I don't know what it is.
And don't forget, no matter how you're listening, even if it's on StreamYard,
radio.
It's the radio.
KOZ-AM.
I saw a guy. I was on the trails today, and I know you're supposed to social distance, and he was like, "Hey, have you ever listened on the Zone app?" And I tackled him, and I was like, "It's radio." I beat the crap out of him. I feel bad now.
Good. Our bosses will appreciate that.
He deserved it.
No, I haven't watched anything other than I don't know what it is. It's weird. I can't watch old sport. The other thing I've watched, and I've got it on, you can probably see it on my glasses right now. I've been watching these 2K matchups between NBA players. But I can't watch old sports. I'm way behind on Better Call Saul. I got like 5 shows I can watch, and I can't get myself to just sit down and do nothing and watch those things. So I only watch news, and then before I was in my self-isolation, which I can tell you all about that if you want to. I watched.
Dang, John, and you thought I was paying attention to the news too much.
My God.
It does sound crazy depressing.
Step away from the CNN and watch Better Call Saul. It's a great season.
I don't know. For some reason, I can't get myself.
Trust me, you're not going to learn anything. You're not going to learn anything. You watch Better Call Saul. Do yourself a favor. It'll help. Trust me.
And I can't get away from Twitter too. You guys know me. I mean, I enjoy telling people how they're wrong, and that's kind of a drug. So, yeah.
Never noticed.
No, I know. So that's been it. Oh, good. We got a long ride, guys. I don't know if you guys have heard, but this is going to take for a while. So I'm sure at some point I'm going to get into it. My son and I, once I get out of self-isolation, we're going to do the Star Wars thing.
Here we go.
What do you mean, Schaefer?
You've been saying this for several years.
This is it.
And nothing has happened.
You're right. I have. But a pandemic might actually do it. I am going to watch.
Watch a show you allegedly liked during a pandemic. You're going to sit down for movies you probably won't care about in a pandemic.
I'm going to run out of the breaking news is going to slow down. I'm going to be bored at some point. I haven't been bored yet. I legit haven't been bored yet in this whole thing. We can do stuff like this. I Zoom everybody. I do this stuff. Hashtag content creator. So I
actually will agree with you, Jack. I haven't been bored either. Like there have been a few times where like I've like legitimately missed games. Like the first Thursday and Friday of March Madness, I was like actually sad about no sports. But for the most part, I haven't been like. I mean, I miss like having sports to talk about on the radio. But for the most part, I've been okay with it. But I have not been bored like at all. Whether because it's either read the news or read something else or watch a movie or watch a TV show.
Not at all. I haven't been bored yet. Have you guys been bored?
I've had like a couple short instances where I thought I was bored and then got over it pretty quick.
Not really.
There's too much stuff to do. I mean, yeah, it's now if I understand people who are living alone and Stibs, people who are living alone is very different, and that kind of thing. But I'm just sort of saving up all that stuff. But I am going to do the Star Wars thing, you guys. So you can, again, haven't watched anything since Jar Jar Binks. I'm gonna go. You guys have to tell me the order Johnny and I have to watch them in, and we're gonna do the whole thing. And
I'll just watch them in the order they were released. That's all. Just watch them in the order they were.
Is that what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, 7, 8, 9.
All right. Yeah. Well, I've seen
10, 11,
4,
12.
5.
And then mix in Rogue One and Solo.
By the time Jack actually gets around to it, there will be a 10, 11, 12.
Sports might even be back by then.
Now I'll do it.
What you watching, Stibs?
Looks like the 1997 Nebraska-Missouri game.
I think he's watching the same thing I am.
Nice.
These esports, they're just showing the gaming chairs that are provided right now by DXR Racer.
John, what are you drinking? A lot of the listeners want to know, or viewers, I guess.
It is these Miller Lights I bought around Christmas time.
Gross.
They were on sale. I've been meaning to get rid of them. It's good nighttime beer.
It is impressive that you can keep beer in your fridge for 4 months. I'll give you props on that.
Oh, there's stuff that's been in there for a couple of years, but it's stuff I would never drink. So
what's the update, guys? What's the we talked about this last time, and it's really depressing. But what is the most likely like if you had to say, gun to your head, when is the next time there is going to be a live, either fans in the stands or not? When's the next time there will either be a professional sporting event or a college sporting event? And
you're talking about team sports, right? You're not talking about like NASCAR or golf or something.
Nobody cares about NASCAR or golf. So I'm talking football, basketball, baseball, I guess hockey. But you know what's awesome? Right now, I'd be starting to have to hear about how great the Stanley Cup playoffs are. Oh, my gosh.
They are great.
You can't beat it. You know what? Fine. I'm so glad I don't have to hear that right now. But anyway, what's your bet? Gun to your head, when's the first time that either one of those, either Major League Baseball, NBA, college football, or NFL, has a true regular season game, fans in the stands or not? What's your if you had to put an over-under on it, what would it be?
July 1st.
I'm encouraged if that's true.
You think baseball?
I think something will be back by July 1st. Probably baseball.
Yeah, I still think it's going to be until next year.
I think the NBA is not going to do anything. I think the NBA is going to sit this one out, but I think baseball will be back on July 1st.
What do you think, Shafe?
I think baseball is the most likely. I am of the opinion that we probably aren't going to see college sports again until 2021. So largely because of college campuses, but
yep,
I hope that I'm completely and entirely wrong on that. Obviously, it's my job, our job.
Yeah.
But I think that Major League Baseball has the best shot of anything coming back as far as team sports go. But even then, I'm not super optimistic about the July 1 that John mentioned. But I think that's their target date, with a condensed schedule and no all-star break or anything like that. But it would be it's going to be hard with not knowing how things are going to spread or where potential hot spots are going to be. And I mean, you can talk about trying to play these games in areas where there isn't anything, but you're just guessing at this point. Nobody knows. That's what makes it hard.
Yeah, I still, I'm still a 2021 person. Sorry, Jack, you go ahead.
No, you can go ahead. I was just going to say, isn't there an argument that there's a better chance that the NBA could figure out how to do it easier than MLB could and finish up their season in the late summer?
Could they? Yes. Will they? I don't think so. I think the NBA is the least likely sport to restart. At least restart the season they were in. I think they're the least likely. I don't think they're coming back.
See, it's funny. I actually think the NBA is the most likely because if you look at all of the four major sports, they have the smallest rosters, and I think that could end up, being to their benefit. That's why I am just so concerned about football this year, is because of the sheer magnitude of a football sideline. Not even just the players. In the NFL, it's 53 players, and then they have all of the practice squad guys, and then they have eight assistant coaches, and then they have assistants upstairs. And obviously they could really try to pare it down and say, we're going to separate everybody. But the sheer roster size of football makes it difficult. But even baseball has 20 some odd people. And then hockey, what are their rosters? Like 20. That's why I think basketball is the most likely to come back this year.
I just don't see players associations being like, yeah, we want our guys to go play when there hasn't been any real answers on any of this.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, are they going to, if somebody gets sick again, what do? Do they have to shut down everything like the NBA did, where you suddenly have, because the way that the virus works in terms of you start looking in the past then to figure out when you got it. And so let's say that the NBA returned and they got, to the Western Conference Finals and somebody catches it there. Well, do you have to suddenly go back and look at all the teams that they played along the way and change things? So yeah, I agree with Shafe on that, and that's why, especially with what he said about the college campuses, if they're not going to let students on campus, are they really going to be like, hey, let's play football games now too?
College is more problematic than professional because
where for the players to live, they're not going to be able to have teams. Like your entire freshman class isn't going to have a dorm to live in. That would be your biggest concern.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think college is more problematic because of the whole school thing, and we talked about it. Was it Thursday on the show about the legal ramifications? A professional athlete could sign a waiver or something, but college athletes aren't represented by anything. They don't have a union. Hey, buddy. But yeah, I think college is a lot more problematic because there's not any representation for the players. But if you can get professional athletes to sign a release or whatever, or get the union to speak on their behalf, then it's probably more likely that professional sports starts back up before college sports. The other thing too about social distancing. I mean, baseball is a social distancing sport if you think about it.
Yeah.
Outside of runners being on base next to a first baseman or the batter, catcher, umpire scenario, but it
might be forced to use a robot.
I was just going to say the exact same thing.
Yeah, you got robot ump too. Yeah, exactly. So that's why I think baseball probably has the easiest time coming back.
And they're the most used to playing for nobody in stands.
The Marlins are going to be pumped.
That's not a roast. Like weekday games, there's a few thousand people in those games. Sometimes.
There's also the talk that they could
basketball game.
What?
Making a Charlotte Hornets, Bobcats, whatever we're calling them. The NBA generally has their own attendance issues as well. I mean, how many NFL games do they have to basically buy up the seats so they can not black out anymore?
Yeah.
But
what do you guys see as the best case scenario right now, sports wise? The best case scenario and the worst case scenario, because we're all aching for it to get back, and all of you, not me, all of you kind of rely on it for your jobs. But I'm curious, what do you see as? So it sounds like the best case scenario in some of your minds is July 1 baseball comes back, and then somehow
theoretically training camp could start. And
isn't the worst case that all the leagues and sports just decide that they're not going to do anything until
they just take a year off,
or do they find a cure? Like is that what until they have something that we can all take, so so we're immune to it?
So what I've said from the beginning on the virus, and I said this 3 weeks ago. Not to pat my own back, but I still think absolute mass testing, 200 million tests or more, in getting it so they're in Walgreens like a pregnancy test, is going to be the thing that allows people to start getting back to normal. And it doesn't end the virus by any means. I understand it's not a cure, but if you can say, okay, you've passed this, you're okay to be out there. You haven't passed it, you're not okay to be out there. And if that happens, I think you can get sports going again. And I think you can get a lot of things going again. But to me, other than saving lives right now, that should be the number one thing that anyone's talking about, is getting an incredibly huge mass quick test out there on the market. And I don't hear it as much as I hope I would.
But do you have to take those tests every single practice, every single game?
Yeah, how many do you have to do?
You have to clear a test before you walk out on the field?
Yeah, I mean, what would the standard of that be? Because if you're having practice, if you're having walkthroughs, if you're having games, is that 3 different?
Well, here's the thing: you don't start it, and you only associate with people. It's not going to be easy, but I think this is going to be a reality at some point. You don't associate with anyone unless they've got a negative test. I think that's going to be a reality at some point, not just in sports, but overall.
Just in general, yeah. But then how everyone has to get tested at the same time, or you can't hang out with people who haven't tested themselves yet.
And so
who's to say when I passed that test 3 days ago that I didn't catch something walking into my house a week later?
The other thing too is, though, what about those who have already had it? And might be immune.
Like a Rudy Gobert, for example.
Right. Or
and do we know how immune they are?
Yeah, well, we don't necessarily, but
yeah.
We also don't know. I guarantee you there are probably thousands upon thousands of people that have had it and then got over it, but never knew they had it.
Yep.
And so can you test retroactively to show that they have passed through it?
That would be the antibody test that they're talking about right now. And you'll throw that out there sometimes, and they'll do the antibody test to see if people have developed an immunity to it from having it in the past. So that would be another part of it.
So you got to have, I think it's, Jack, to your point, it's got to be both, right? It's got to be having readily quick available testing plus the antibody test, so you can check both things.
Yeah,
right?
I can promise you the return to normal, whether it's sports or non-sports, is going to be related to mass testing. And the sooner that happens, the sooner that's going to actually happen. The sooner you're going to see some return to normal.
Yeah. It's hard for me to figure out what mass testing is going to be. Like, is it, you go to Walmart and you buy a 5-pack of these tests and then you have to administer it like once a month, or that's just like what's hard for me to imagine.
Yeah, ideally, I don't know if that's possible, but ideally it'd be like a pregnancy test that you can do at home. Yeah.
And I want to shoot the commercials so that we can show, the happy husband showing his test to his wife saying, "I'm negative."
And then sitting in bathtubs that are perfectly placed at the sunset.
And holding hands. Yes. Yeah. Something.
And John's in the bathtub, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, are you guys, you guys all being in if there's not a football season, what happens to sports media in general? And I don't mean to say this in a dark way, but I've wondered this a whole bunch of times.
So have I.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot. Yeah, it's scary. I don't know. In a way, I almost don't even want to think about what it would mean for everybody. Let alone us.
Literally taking it like day by day, week by week.
Yeah,
that's the hard line. It's whether there's a football season, right?
Yeah. It feels like it. I don't know if that's the case, but it feels like it gets a lot more grimmer, if that's a word, the day we find out that there's not a football season.
It's going to depend on if there's anything else. I mean, what if they somehow are able to play baseball or basketball or whatever, just other team sports, but they find that football is problematic for some reason. I mean, we'll all pivot towards whatever's in season, right?
Yeah.
Locally, I don't know how much that'll matter for people.
No, you're right, Shafe.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the local perspective. Yeah, but honestly, based on where we're at right now, as devastating as it would seems in the moment, if we didn't have a Husker football season or a college football season or an NFL season, if there were other things going on, if you could somehow do other things, and again, I'm just throwing this out there, just theoretically, I think you would find a lot of people would just be like, fine, I'm going to watch hockey. I'm going to watch basketball. I'm going to watch baseball. It won't have the same oomph. And certainly for, those of us who, spend 80-90% of our time talking about one team in one sport, it's going to be different. But, I think people will gravitate towards whatever's out there, because if there isn't football, we're going to fill our time with something.
Yeah, I guess the problem though about that is from a local perspective, if pro sports comes back, yes, we'll have something to talk about on the show anymore. Like, what does Shafe what does Shave have to cover if there's no college sports, if there's no recruiting, you know?
And I understand that. Yeah, I understand that. You know, obviously we're in a little different circumstances because obviously, Mike, you depend a lot on football, more so than even we do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even if there's no season, there's still going to be a 2021 recruiting class. Like there still will be things.
Right.
But where this gets dicey, or even if pro sports comes back, is that advertising still rules a large amount of income for media. And so, I mean, I say this as a radio professional like you four. If there is no football season, the bulk of the advertising for the radio station that I work for will not exist.
Yeah. No, that's true.
And knowing that, and knowing the magazines or the periodicals or the newspapers or television channels, I mean, you don't have to stretch too far to see like mass job loss from it. Like that's a very real thing.
Right.
It's happening elsewhere right now.
When I sit here, because I've had people like accusing me of hyping this up or, you know, wanting this result to happen or whatever. I mean,
you know anything about that, Jack?
There's just this. If there's no football season, the Nebraska media will be shrunk. Like there's no other way to say it.
And there's just there's so many people
about that at all. The reality is you're going to have more people filing for unemployment directly tied to the fact that there's not going to be a sport play.
And I agree with you to an extent, John, that if some of this other stuff starts up, that it will pull the attention of some viewers or listeners in our case into sports again. But maybe more here than anywhere else, there are so many people that are Nebraska football, and that's it. They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't even know that other sports exist. They don't know that other teams exist. It is just not their gig.
Well, I mean,
if it's not around, it's just not there.
Shafe said the most important thing, though. It comes down to the advertising. That's
right.
What it comes down to.
No, I understand, but even from a listenership, it's scary because there's a lot of people who will just be like, "No, I don't care right now."
Yeah, but okay, now from Shafe's perspective, he is right. He is absolutely right. Well, but I will say that at least in terms of what we do as a show and what other sports talk shows will do is we'll just pivot to whatever's there. And I think a lot of fans will pivot to whatever's there. And so, which is why, as we are doing now, we have to kind of reinvent ourselves. I think, Shafe, and I hope I'm not putting words in your mouth, it's harder to reinvent what you do because it's focused on this. You're right. There is going to be still recruiting, but there's going to be a lot of others in the field that, you know, won't have as much to do because there's not a season, because, you know, you cover a lot of recruiting and that's still going on. But there are others in our business that, you know, they depend solely on Huskers and it will affect them. So I think Mike, you're both right. But I do think that the audience, the general audience, even if it's, you know, Joe Q Husker fan who doesn't care about anything else except Husker football, if we come to October and the only thing going on is Major League Baseball or whatever it is, we will be so damn desperate by that point. We'll follow. I mean, people will pivot to other things to keep them occupied.
Hopefully,
not as intently as they would have been if it were Huskers, but they will pivot.
By the way, I'm looking forward to like a full hour of your show breaking down the Rays-Orioles games with no fans in the stadium.
That's what I mean, and because they might pivot, and then they might think, like Jack, you can't just emotionally attach yourself to a sport or a season or a team that you never have before. So for a week or two, they might be like, "This is cool. I got some sports to watch, or I got this," but they're not going to have an investment in it. And it's scary to think about it. And to Shafe's point, we could reinvent our show and we could be, you know, the Howard Stern show reincarnated, and none of it'll matter if we don't get any advertisers.
Yep.
Yeah,
We got the best show on earth, and it don't matter.
That's what I was going to say the same thing, Stibbs. I mean, to be honest, I probably am in a position where more people are listening to me than they usually do because of the situation that we're in right now. But even, it's not like I've lost. I've got more stuff to talk about. My situation with advertisers isn't any different than you guys to some degree.
Yeah,
it's
rampant job loss.
It's not as much. It's not as much about the lack of content as the lack of ability or desire for anyone to advertise at this point.
You got to keep the lights on.
Well, and that's why, we keep talking about sports. From that perspective, it's when can we start frequenting businesses again regularly, like we used to? Because when that happens, then at least the potential is there for some to advertise. But right now, a lot of people are cutting back advertising because they realize that, well, either they're closed or they're so limited in resources they can't afford it anyway.
Yeah.
So,
they don't know what their costs are going to be like to try to reopen or whatever.
Right.
I mean, or how long they're going to be out. That's one of the first things any business will cut right off the bat is advertising.
Right.
Especially during the unknown.
Well, yeah, that was ugly.
Yeah,
we should have done the depressing stuff early.
Hey, we can still do these. We can still do these anytime, right? We don't have advertisers.
That's true.
Not yet.
Yeah, somebody reached out to me on Twitter and said, "Are you guys going to plan on doing this again anytime soon?" And I was like, "Yep, we're doing it next week. Hopefully."
Hey, we got 22 viewers right now. That's like almost 3 times as many of us who are doing this.
So we basically have a little more than 4 times the amount of viewers as we have participants. That's a good ratio.
That's pretty cool.
I think we got up to 30 at one point.
Nice. I mean, it is almost 10:30.
I wonder who tuned out and why.
Last week tonight, did they want to watch John Oliver? They were like, "Sorry guys, I'm out of here."
Maybe it was when John showed us his ass.
Yeah, fair.
Oh, it was Josh's idiotic takes about bowl game years, probably.
Why is it my idiotic takes? Shave, what do you call bowl games?
What do I call them?
Yeah, like when Nebraska
Bowl
played
games.
Miami and beat them with Tom Osborne, what bowl game was that to you?
I generally go with the previous season, so it'd be like the 95 Orange Bowl. Or, excuse me, 95 Fiesta Bowl, 94 Orange Bowl. But it's easier for me to
think not what it is, but
okay. Yeah, you guys can clap all you want for him being wrong. It's like the weirdest thing. God creates the heavens and the earth, and Stibbs is like, "No, actually, I disagree with you, God." And it's like, all right, fine. I guess Stibbs is right because he disagrees with God.
Well,
you're setting him up there.
My God, that is
that. But
Stibbs took it though for whatever.
Look at
the best part is he's buffering so badly
that all we see is like that and then that.
All we see is blurry things.
All right. So next week I'm going to be back on Wired Internet. I'm in self-isolation right now because of my pink eye. So thanks for your.
Can we see your pink eye?
Thoughts and prayers.
Show us your pink eye.
It's
Did
getting
Johnny
better.
fart in your face? Is that what happened? Good Lord.
Oh, it's pink.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Out of here.
It looks way better than it used to, but I don't have a temperature. I'm gonna live. I'm not worried. There's all these people who are like coming at me. They're like, "Do you really think you have it? You don't have it." And I'm like, I don't think I do. My doctor just said to do this, and I'm telling all these people on the radio to do what experts say. So I feel like I probably should.
You're doing what your doctor told you, nerd.
Idiot.
I bet you eat vegetables too.
Yeah, that's a very important question.
So I am. So like you guys, I mean, life is crazy. I'm living up here in my bedroom all by myself. I got the dorm fridge and the microwave. I got my I'm all set up. If I ever go downstairs, I wear gloves. And
what kind of gloves?
Like the only gloves we could get from the grocery store for delivery was like cleaning gloves. Like
okay.
Yeah.
Not like mittens.
No, like yellow, like the one, like cleaning gloves. They're big yellow.
Shafe, do you have a question?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I mean, I had it a couple minutes ago, but Jack just blew right by it.
What, with the whole thing? The whole
Nope, it wasn't. It was after.
No, he just kept talking. Yeah.
So one of the things I learned in his podcast with I think it was with his wife, is he really wants to have a separate bed. Like he wants them to have their own bed. Is this separation, this isolation, going to provide that for you?
I didn't necessarily say I really wanted to. I just asked her, would she be interested in discussing doing the Brady thing where we both have separate beds?
No, you're totally down.
I
mean, I understand why she would want it, but not you.
Yeah, makes sense.
What's the reasoning?
Well, I mean,
Does she move a lot? Does she slap you?
Listen, I don't want to get too graphic, but when you need one, you can use it. But I'm just saying, generally, is it really necessary to be in the same bed?
Well, I mean, don't you have the big king size? You still have the same one you got when we got the sleep number.
Yeah,
thing,
it's right behind me. It's right behind me. It's where the magic.
And it's the king size, right?
Yep.
I really can't see it.
It's the king size, right?
Yes, it's a king size. No, it's a twin.
Well,
yeah, it's a king size.
But that's the thing. I mean,
there are sizes between that, Jack, that it could be. It's a race car bed, John.
Oh, nice.
I'm just asking because it's plenty of room for me and my wife and a dog.
Yeah, and you said you lost a lot of weight, Jack, so you should be fine with the king size bed.
And by the time when I did, and Schaefer, when I did that podcast, I snored like a buzzard. I mean, it was terrible. So, but I've since got diagnosed with sleep apnea. I wear the CPAP. I don't snore anymore. And so it's less of a problem now, but I still think I have some fascination with separate beds.
I believe we call those fetishes.
Your poor wife.
I know, that's kind of the opposite.
I think she's probably happy with it.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Our fetish is we don't ever touch each other physically.
Yeah. I have a fascination with being in a completely different room than you.
Ooh, this is hot. Let's
see. I like Mike's comment. The last one here. I like Mike's comment.
All right, I'll put it up. Hold on.
Need one bed for sleeping and one bed for
Whoopee.
Sex.
So that'll be like in a separate room, and so the kids will always wonder, why is there a bed sitting in that room? What is it doing there?
Why does the door say sex room on it?
Well, hold on. Okay.
Mom, what's that mean?
Just let me answer this stuff. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many of you people, and I'm not going to make you tell me, are sleeping with other people regularly, but it's not like, okay, there might have been one point in my life where I went to bed just spooning and snuggling all night long. That's not happening anymore. I mean, what's the purpose of the same bed all night long?
I have a question. Is your fascination with a different bed because is it because of an annoyance of the partner? Like maybe you or her are up later than the other person wants to be, or they have a light on, or they're reading, or they're watching TV? Or is it more about when you're both asleep, there's kicking and hitting and movement and snoring going on?
Good question.
Or is it neither?
The kicking and hit, we have a big enough bed, as John pointed out. We have a king bed that's not really a problem.
Not a twin.
It's just but it's all of the above. It's all of the above. I just don't.
Do you have problems with these things, or is it more you worrying that you have that problem for your wife, that you are the problem?
Again, since I stopped snoring, it's a little bit better, but I still think there's some. It's worth thinking about.
Now, you're not talking
it was
about
more
just
you
separate
feeling
beds.
bad than it was you being annoyed by her.
Okay, but answer me this though: what are you gaining by being in the same bed for sleeping?
Space.
Room space.
Yeah. Yes.
Like in the room. If you have two separate beds.
If you have two separate beds in the same room, it's going to take up more space.
Or are you talking?
Do you think Greg and Mark? Hold on. Do you think Greg and Marsha Brady was taking up more room in there with their two twin beds than I am with this dog?
Yes, two twin beds will take up more space because you're going to naturally have, a trench
divider
and a
in
chasm.
between.
You're going to have a divider in between. Plus, you're going to have your
Can't
end
put
table.
anything there.
Yeah, it's going to take up more space.
Do we know why it got labeled twin beds? It doesn't make sense because twin.
It doesn't.
It's a single. Yeah.
It doesn't.
It should
The
be a
opposite
single
of
bed.
twin. It's the opposite of twin.
Yeah.
It's one.
I think secretly what Jack wants to do is he wants the separate beds so he can like jump off of his bed onto her bed and drop an elbow.
Every time when I was a kid and I got into a hotel room with 2 beds, that was the first thing I did.
Oh yeah, I did that till I was like
I did that to my
16.
brother all the time.
I don't know. I just think it's a worthy conversation. I'm not as passionate as I am about the bowl game years, but it's just I think it's worth discussing the paradigm.
Well, what you're really talking about is separate rooms, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know. That'd be fine. I mean, I just don't know.
I mean, to me, the point.
It sounds like you don't want to spend time with your significant other. Is what it sounds like.
Not while sleeping. No, that's the dumbest time to spend time with.
You want to
them.
like high five in the hallway and be like, "I'll see you tomorrow, honey."
It's seriously, sleeping time is the dumbest time to possibly spend time with them. No one's going to remember it. Nothing. Spend all the quality awake time you want. And, have whatever. But
what if you have a nightmare and she needs to like comfort you? Or if someone breaks into the house and you're not there
They're
to
like
protect
texting,
her.
hey, I think somebody's in the house. I'm texting you to find out what's going on.
Honey, hide under the bed. I'll lure him to my room.
It's a good thing I picked the room at the end of the hall because that'll be the last room to get hit. Sorry, honey.
He'll never think there's an adult in this room with the race car bed.
And a pennant for all 32 NFL teams because I never picked one.
Look at all my mini helmets around my bed.
Oh, and the room door says the 1996 room because I don't want to confuse it with any other year.
I would like to just go say that he wasn't passionate about this, but just made at least an 8-minute argument.
Yeah, right.
I did.
I don't even really care that much.
I mean, I don't know how many tweets it would have taken up. And
I've never tweeted about this, which
It's
is
not that big a deal. I just think all of America should adopt it. That's all I'm saying.
I didn't say that. I think people should talk about it. I think they should talk about it in their relationship.
Look, I'm just asking questions.
What?
You just want an open conversation.
I just think have the conversation with your partner and do what's right for you.
Sounds like he wants an open relationship.
Between beds, yes. I want us to see other beds. Well, I suppose since if we keep going for another 10 minutes based on flattening the curve, we're going to be down to 0 viewers. So we probably should wrap it up here pretty soon.
Well, I don't think we lost any. Well, we did lose a couple. Sorry, Jack's little rant on beds did lose us a couple. So
I thought that was our best discussion yet.
It was pretty funny.
I was lured into it. You guys,
much like the robber will be lured into one of your own bedrooms.
They got a 1 in 4 chance of not picking mine.
By the way, I just still haven't heard why it's such other than space. Which that's your great argument in terms of the same bed is space.
Well,
that's
space in your room, but if you're going separate rooms, then it's space.
Intruders.
I mean, not everybody can live in this sort of house.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Okay,
very good point.
Blessed to be.
Yeah. How many extra bedrooms do you
East
have?
Lincoln mansion.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm very not afraid of getting intruders here in East Lincoln.
I would like my own room so I can hang up my tennis trophies and my backgammon awards.
I'm not worried about that. No. I just want the Marsha and Greg Brady beds. That's all I want.
Okay, well, first of all, you're getting it wrong. The Bradys slept in the same bed,
It's
and
Greg
Marsha and Greg did not sleep in the same room.
They did in the movie.
Oh wait, who are the parents?
The parents were oh God.
Oh, that was brother and sister. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Greg and Marsha. Yeah.
Yeah, you must have been watching the Arkansas version of Brady Bunch.
No, in one of the movies they had to share the attic, and there was just like a sheet in between them.
It was Tiger King Brady Bunch, which I haven't watched yet either.
Of course.
Yeah,
well, I can't wait for you to catch up to the rest of us in 2022.
I look forward to the
There's
take.
gonna have to be like There's gonna have to be.
It'll
a
be
bunch
the
more
2021 Tiger King episode.
I don't know how many pandemics there's gonna have to be for me to watch Tiger King.
Oh, jeez.
I hate fun too, Jack. I get it.
Are you guys like at all surprised that every website is now just catering to as much Tiger King news as they can?
No,
No.
not
People are selling out
did
of
it.
tiger print.
Like it's so beyond oversaturated at this point.
It is.
But you know,
Yeah, we're going to be needing another trending thing here in another week or two, I think.
I think it lasted. It hasn't lasted quite as long as Fortnite is the greatest video game of all time, but it can give it a little bit of a run.
This basically just turned into the roast of Jack for the last 15 minutes.
I like
By the
how
way,
this was
Fortnite was the thing in 2018, right?
It's a good game. It's fun. I enjoy it. I'm gonna get back to it on Wednesday.
Have you played the Call of Duty version yet? Warzone?
No, Johnny wants me to play it, but it looks too violent for my liking.
Okay, Dad.
Violent.
First thing I'm gonna do, we're gonna get back. Stibbs and Bishop are gonna call Johnny and me in 2K, hopefully Wednesday or Thursday night. As soon as I get out of isolation.
It'll be fun.
Hey,
Yep.
the Bishop call of our Madden game, which happened to be like one of the greatest football games,
It was awesome.
real
It was
or
good.
virtual, ever played.
It was
It was
awesome.
good. It was the
If
best
they
game
put-
of 2020.
If they put that on
2019, depending on-
ESPN, right? It was way
2019.
better than those. By the way, it was 100 times better than those NBA players playing 2K, where they just sit there and like, it's
Oh shit!
so-
Nice.
they
Oh shit!
suck.
Nice pass.
They don't say anything. They're NBA players. They ought to talk the best crap in the
Yeah, you
entire
just hear-
world. They just sit there like they're stoned the entire time. It's terrible.
Well,
Are they getting tested right now? Probably. Well, they're getting tested for other things.
Not COVID-19 because there aren't any tests. Thanks, Trump.
Well, the NBA players are though. They're getting them
Yeah, it seems to be if you have money,
right.
you can somehow find tests.
No.
It's weird. It's like the South Park AIDS episode.
so why doesn't Jack have one yet?
Dang it! I was just about to make
yeah.
that joke with his
Got
8
27,
bedrooms.
27 bedrooms and not one COVID test. Unreal.
True. That's true. I should have stormed into the doctor's office. And
He has a
Drop some
different
cash
bedroom every day of the week, but he can't get himself a COVID test.
I should have thrown some cash on the table and said, I have pink eye. Give me a test.
All right, I'm
All
out.
right.
This is
All
good.
right. We're ending it.
I'll try to make it at a more reasonable time.
Are we doing it next week?
I'm game.
Yep.
All right. All right. Cool. We'll follow. We'll end it up now. Have a good one. Hey,
Bye, everybody.
We'll be up on YouTube. Have a
Enjoy
good
that.
one. I don't know what to say.
Good luck with your eye. Still says you're live.
Yeah, it still says it's live, Jack.
My computer is a little slow. trying to end. Schaefer was out immediately.
Yeah, right. You just bounced.